from the team?
Way more than others. So I have the benefit in hindsight of being a player and then stepping away from it and then becoming a coach and manager and really understanding what it's for and what it's about. And also, like, there's an unwritten contract between players and a team and fans, and the team has to dictate the energy of the fans. I really believe that. So we didn't give them enough to... The last half hour, they were amazing. So during the game, they were brilliant. They have been. The second half last week, after a really difficult first half, they were brilliant. And I'm grateful for that. Then after the game and you haven't won, of course, there's going to be frustration. So I understand that. I think the players understand that. We've spoke about it. But there is, like I said, the unwritten contract between us and the fans is that we have to really define that and define the energy of the supporters. I don't think it comes the other way around. I really don't. So we have to do a bit more to make sure that we are giving them something to cheer about at the end of the game. I really believe that. And I really believe we will. So I'm not going to criticise the supporters one bit. They're the most important people at the club, and I think a lot of them understand what's going on and the change that was needed here and is necessary. And then there'll be some that are really unhappy because we're not winning as many games as they would like. So that's understandable, especially at this amazing football club. So, but I'm really calm and I'm really convinced that we'll change that energy, and the reaction at the end of the games when we're winning and we're in flow will be beautiful, and we'll all share it together.
Right, Russell Martin there, Billy, addressing the Hamza Egeman issue, which flared up, of course, on Sunday. Before we get your thoughts on how the manager handled things, how you would handle it as a manager yourself and as a teammate, actually, you can give us a great insight. You work with Egeman. What's he like?
A good boy, a really good lad. Quite witty, dry sense of humour. He obviously, Firmino, Kenny, wanted to move, and he forced the move, so the manager had to handle it. And
did he handle it well?
I wouldn't have probably said anything, or I would have definitely, if he had refused to play, he'd have definitely been shown the door. Maybe not publicly. He wanted to out him. I could understand a little bit of it, because a lot of Rangers punters would have been asking, he's on the bench Sunday against St Mirren, why did you not put him on? And if he tried to keep it in-house, he had to make sure that he didn't want to go on. So he's outed him, he's done it his way. I don't really see a problem with it. But in the same answer, he wouldn't have played again. When you refuse to play for Rangers, it's a no-no. But Hamza's a good lad, really good player. I've talked to you about him before, where he wasn't the finished article. He had to become more of a team player. Technically incredible things he did. And he's got his move, and do you know what? If it is the reported 10.5 million that they've got for him, it's some piece of business as well.
Yeah, it's a very good piece of business, Ian. And we've spoken a lot in this programme about the lack of character, the lack of mentality, winning mentality in that Rangers team. And I just wonder if this is another sign of that, because I would imagine in teams that you played in, or teams that you managed, when word gets round what the manager said post-match on Saturday, essentially he declared himself not fit, and yet he'd been training. Surely a teammate, someone's got to call him out or do something. Is that not down to the players to do that? How would you handle that if a teammate does that when you're in desperate need of a win?
Well, first of all, I think the issue is that he shouldn't have been on the bench. I mean, this just does not happen if he doesn't put him on the bench. There's no way they didn't know about this deal. Of course they knew about the deal. Russell Martin has talked about the deal afterwards. You know, some things, I mean, when I'm listening there, I'm thinking to myself, in all my time, I've never heard an Old Firm manager be as open as this. Maybe a lot of people like that, but talk so much. And some of the great Old Firm managers, if they could say 5 words, they would say 5 words, and that's it. I.e. giving you guys absolutely nothing. So, for me, he shouldn't have been on the bench. I think then when I think with Russell Martin, some of the things he said I thought were quite, you know, he's a young boy. Dodgy knows him, obviously. I don't know the boy, but he's a young boy. He doesn't speak English very particularly well. He's obviously been driven by his agent. I mean, I think he was a reasonably cute signing for Rangers. I don't know what it was, 1.8 or something like that. So therefore, his wages would equate to that. I'm not saying he's on buttons, but he wouldn't be on a lot. And I think going for 10.5 million, his wages would go up times 5, maybe times 6. I think the whole problem has arisen because he was putting on the bench when a move was in the offing. But listen, if you're asking me as a manager, I think when Billy says he's not the finished article, I don't think you get players that play with Rangers and Celtic the finished article, or they wouldn't be at Rangers and Celtic.
Tom, I can't make my mind on this. When I listened to it on Sunday, as Ian said, it was brutally honest, the manager. It's a journalist's dream. And we've had quite a lot of that from Russell Martin right from the opening game at Motherwell. But do you think he was right doing that? He should be open, he's trying to explain to the fans, or potentially a classic case of deflection after another poor performance?
I think he was 100% right in calling out Igman. 100% right.
Right.
Because he was asked that question. Now, he's got two roads that he can lie or he can tell the truth. And I don't think you should criticise a manager ever for telling the truth. So otherwise he's protecting and he's covering for Igman. Why would he do that? Why would he compromise himself to cover for a player he thinks is at it? Shouldn't do it. And I think he was right. There's no dubiety about that for me.
Right.
He's 100% correct in calling out Igman. Some of the other stuff that he says, a lot of the other stuff that he says, I find it's just words. It's words upon words upon words. It's the Michael Beale word salad. It's psychobabble. Now, you can talk whatever, you can talk a lot or not bother talking at all if you're winning games. He's talking the house down here. Again, and I can't believe this. I can't believe what I'm hearing. Talking about the second half performance last week against Bruges. Amazing, brilliant, grateful for that.
The thing is, the point is, why is he in the team? I mean, they know the move's happening. Who's going to win out of that? Unless you're saying he trusts Igman to come on, just like I said about Billy Dodds there, that he used to come on the pitch, whether he'd fallen out of enemy, give 100%. If he thinks he's like that, fine, and keep him on the bench, maybe he can go on and get a last-minute winner. But other than that, what is the reasoning behind a young player putting him on the bench when the move for over 10 million, according to the press, is ongoing? And I mean, because he was aware of the move and said it was an almost certainty right after the game. But I've never heard of that, putting a boy on the bench for that type of game, you know? I mean, ultimately as well, Kenny, Rangers should have enough. And take nothing away from St Mirren, they're a good side. But we always, we're talking about Rangers though. Take nothing away from St Mirren, but Rangers should have enough to beat St Mirren without having all this palaver about a boy that's leaving, who's a good player. He needs polished. I think he's got great ability, but he's definitely not the finished article. And if Rangers do get 10.5 million for him, well, that's the player trading model that started like 2 weeks ago or something. Well, it's starting to work, because I mean that's a great deal.
It is a great deal, but absolutely. And this is at last, this mythical player trading model at Rangers has produced something. Raskin would be another one. Is he going to be the next out the door? You're depreciating your asset by sticking him on the bench. Last season he was probably their best player. Now he's on the bench. Dessers was your best goal scorer last season. He's on the bench. Tavernier's your captain and your best right back. He's on the bench.
Does it sound to you as if something's going on there? Because if you look purely on a football in basis, what we saw from Raskin last season, and I know it's early doors, from what we've seen from the new arrivals this campaign, Raskin starts all day long, doesn't he?
Yeah, and again, we're not privy to what's going on behind the scenes. We don't know, and it could be plenty, and I suspect there is plenty going on behind the scenes. But Raskin, at his peak level, is a very good player. He's a Belgian international.
And I think he's looked quite good when he's come on to stop, just like Tavernier has.
He's streets ahead of Rothwell. If you get Rothwell's best stuff and Raskin's best stuff, Raskin wins all day for me, but we don't know. We are not privy to what's going on.
There's two reasons why he's got to be in the team. A, he's their best midfielder, and B, if you want to get serious money for him in terms of this player trading model, then he's got to play. I mean, he's going back the way now. And instead of getting 15-20 million for him, you might get 8 million. You know, say
Raskin starts tonight, shoot the lights out, plays brilliantly. You might get a bid for him.